What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Tarkov 101. This is episode 3. I am your host, Judge Drudge. Welcome, you guys. Welcome. Today, we're going to be going over mostly just ammo. It is the most important thing in this game. There is nothing more important than ammo and your calibers in this game. I mean, it's priority number one, have good ammo. This is the only really thing that you need to worry about at the very beginning. So we're going to be going over every single ammo type in the game, which ammos are good, what's good for a leg meta, what a leg meta is, what's good, like the top tier, what penetration is. We're just going to be going over all of it. It's going to be actually quite a intuitive video. There's going to be just a lot of stuff we're going to cover here. So make sure you guys have your notepads out because you're going to be taking a lot of notes. But without further ado, court is now in session. Okay, guys, so we are on the Escape from Tarkov Wikipedia. That is where we're getting our information here for our ammo types, as well as penetration statistics and how much health damage and all that stuff. So first off, we're going to go through the armor penetration tables. So how to read these and to just kind of go into a little overview of how this works and all that. 0 over on the scale. So down here, I'll show you this. It's going to be like on a scale of how effective these are and whatnot. And this is going to show what those numbers down there on the chart actually mean. So 0 would be pointless. You need 20 plus bullets to actually penetrate. So the explanation is can't penetrate in any reasonable amount of hits, meaning it's useless. A level 1 is it's possible, but typically doesn't penetrate at all for a large number of hits, or starts with a very low chance and barely increases. So basically, once again, pointless. Number 2 is mag dump only, and that means that it has a very low or no penetration chance initially and very slowly gains chance the more damage that you actually give the armor. The effectiveness level 3 is slightly effective, meaning it has a low penetration chance initially and slowly gains chance or quickly damages armor until it penetrates. So it's okay, but not that good. Still 5 to 9 bullets to take to be effective. A level 4 effectiveness is slightly effective. 3 to 5 rounds will pen, and it starts with a low to medium penetration chance, but quickly increases. So it's actually quite effective. A level 5 is very effective. 1 to 3 bullets penetrates a large percent of the time initially, often quickly going to upwards to 90%. And level 6 is basically ignores, initially penetrates 80% of the time. So it's very, very effective. Basically completely ignores it all the time. So first, we're going to be going over 12 gauge shotgun shells. The biggest, really the only ones that you really need to pay attention to are the Magnum Buckshot, the Flechette, and the AP-20 Slugs. All of the other ammunitions in this caliber at a 12 gauge shotgun really aren't that good. There's some great leg meta in here, but the Magnum Buckshot would be one of the best for that. They're, in my opinion. But the AP-20 Slugs is the best overall, in my opinion. I would highly recommend rocking these. And the Flechette is a very, very good round as well. So let's just go over the Magnum Buckshot first. It will do has 8 pellets, doing 50 damage per pellet. So that is a 1 tap to the thorax if it's unarmored, easily, if you hit every pellet. It has 2 penetration and armor damage of 26%. So basically, the effectiveness against the armor is level 3 all the way around, just because it does shoot 8 pellets at once. So it is a very, very good round all the way around. Our next is our Flechettes. It shoots 8 pellets at 25 damage, but it has 31 penetration. So these are very good if you're gonna aim for the thorax, because it does a level 5 damage to class 4, class 5, and class 6. So you can take out someone with a slick fairly easily, hitting someone with Flechette for maybe 2 shots. 2 shots would probably take them down. And then again, we have the AP-20 Slugs here. AP-20s do 164 damage, which seems like a crazy amount, which really it's not compared to the 8x50, which would be 400. But it also does 37 pen, which means that it is a level 5 effectiveness over a class 4, a level 4 against 5, and a level 6. The reason why I recommend using AP20 slugs is because it gives you the versatility. Now, an AP20 is a slug versus a flechette is pellets. So a slug is going to be able to punch someone from 100 to 200 meters. I mean, that would be really pushing it. But 100 to 150 meters, you can get a very good, very clean shot, one tap of thorax possibly, and a headshot. It's pretty much always someone's going down. It's a very, very good ammunition. Now here we have the 20 by 70 millimeter. This is the 20 gauge shotgun. Your Taz's, I think it's just the Taz. I could be wrong. There could be something else that uses it. I'm pretty sure it's just the Taz. To be quite honest, I wouldn't recommend running this at all. A Taz is a bolt action shotgun, so you're going to shoot one round and it's not very good. So if you are going to use it, I recommend, like if you're in a pinch and that's all you have, I do recommend either the Devastator slug as a meme, because it does 198 flesh damage, which is fairly high. It's very high. Or the 5.6 meter buckshot or the 7.3 buckshot. Honestly, we don't really need to review this. If you have it, you have it. Just use it for whatever. Now we have the 23 by 75. This is the new Taz shotgun. It is the most devastating gun that they have added to this game besides the grenade launcher. This is 100% a leg meta gun. You want to aim for the leg with this at all times, but it does have one exception. And that one exception is the 23 by 75 millimeter star round. If you ever run into this, you'll know, because you won't be able to see. It literally brings the sun to you. I mean, it's boom, flashbang right out of the barrel. It's so devastating. You can't see for like 25 to 30 seconds. It is extremely overpowering. It is one of the hardest and most just frustrating things to run into. But man, if you're running it, it's fun, because you'll see the guy literally, they'll do two things. They'll run around in circles, or they'll just stand there and wait for their death. I normally just stand there and wait for my death. But for this gun, I recommend running the star rounds and the Shrap 10s. And we'll go over why I would run the Shrap 10s. The star rounds do 0 damage. They don't do anything. They flash. It's like a flashbang coming out of your barrel. I would use the Shrap 10s because it has 8 pellets, rocking 87 flesh damage. It has 11 penetration power. So basically up to level 6, you're at a level 3. So you're slightly effective. But the thing about when you're running this gun is you're not going for the chest. You're going for the legs. So if you hit all of those pellets on the legs, 8 by 87, they're dead. One tap, instantly. Boom, one shot, dead. It's a very, very effective gun. Shotguns in this game are very, very good. On almost any other game, shotguns aren't very good, especially after like maybe 10 meters. That's not the case in Escape from Tarkov. It's very realistic. Run a shotgun, get good with shotguns. They are absolutely fantastic. Second, we have the 9x18 caliber. Give me 1 second. I have no idea what's a good ammo for this. All right, so for the 9x18, we're going to suggest for leg meta using the SP7s. This has the highest flesh damage for this, and it is not subsonic, so it's not a very slow weapon or slow ammunition. So it shoots fairly fast. This is out of a pistol. This is a pistol round. But so this isn't something that you're really going to use a whole lot, but there are quite a few weapons that do use this. So it's definitely good to go over. I would definitely recommend running the SP7 if you are going to be rocking leg meta. But the PBM would be your best option in a pinch if you're trying to possibly pinch through someone's face shield or whatever, because most face shields aren't over level 3, and so that will help you out with that, since it is effective up to level 5 with the PBM here. Okay, so now we're going to be going over the 7.62 by 25 millimeter ballistics ammunition. So this is for, I believe, the TT pistol, which isn't a good pistol at all, and it isn't a really good ammunition. What I would recommend doing with this is pulling out your hatchet. I'm just kidding. All of these ammunitions are pretty similar. There's really no good. There's really no bad. This will be used in the PPSH as well. I just realized after looking at some of these. So the best ammo you're going to want to use, I believe, would be it would be the TT LRNPC right here. It doesn't do really any armor effectiveness, but it is a higher flesh damage, so it's a leg meta type situation. It really doesn't matter what you run in this gun. You're going to be shooting at the leg, or attempting to. I recommend staying away from this caliber. It's not a good caliber whatsoever. Okay, so next we have one of my favorite calibers in this game. It is one of the most fun to use because this is an SMG caliber, and man, it shreds. Shred it, man. I mean, it shreds. So first off, this is the 9x19 millimeter Parabellum. For your leg meta, chat, you're gonna want to use the rip rounds. The 9x19 millimeter rip rounds are absolutely insane. If you go for legs with your Vector, with your MP5, your MP9, you are going to shred. And you're not going to damage their armor. So if you just go in with one of those guns and don't bring anything with you besides maybe like a rig, you'll protect the armor so that when you put on their armor, it'll be fresh, brand new, which is a very good strategy. But this does 102 damage. Our next budget for the 9x19, I would say go with the Quake Maker. They're devastating. Once again, it doesn't do very much penetration power. It only has a level 8, but it does do 85 flesh damage. So once again, a fairly good leg meta type ammunition. For the rest of these, I wouldn't recommend running unless you have them. They're all fairly good, well-rounded ammunitions. The PSO, the Luger CCI, the Green Tracers, and the PST. They're all fairly good. Some of them have better options than others. You can actually look. They all have fantastic statistics, as this round, in my opinion, is just, or this caliber is one of the best in the game. But the two that we are actually going to go into are the AP63s and the 7N31s. Now, for pretty much any caliber in this game, if it has 7N in it, it's probably the best. Pretty much how it goes. Some of the calibers don't have this, but if it's 7N, it's really good. So if you see 7N in an ammunition, keep it. It's good stuff. But first, we're going to go over the AP rounds. It does 52 damage and 30 penetration power, which is pretty darn good for this caliber. So all the way up to level 6, it pretty much completely disregards, or up to level 3, excuse me. Any armor up to level 3, it completely disregards. Level 4, it's a level 4 effectiveness, which is pretty darn good. And then at 5, it goes down to a 2, which isn't very good. And then a 6, it's once again isn't very good. But most of these guns that shoot this caliber shoot very, very fast. So you have to take that into consideration. When we're rocking their 7N31s, which does 52 damage, 39 penetration, which is almost the exact same statistics as our AP63s, but it only has 9 more points of penetration, and it also does 53% more damage to armor versus 48. So you're going to be able to pen through those better classed armors more effectively. So at level 4, it is a level 5 effectiveness. Level 5, it's a level 4 effectiveness. And then level 6, it's level 3, which is still really good considering that you're shooting, I believe in the Vector, I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure it's at 1200 rounds per second. They might have dropped it down just because it was super OP when it first came out. So that pretty much is it for the 9mm. But for the 45 ACP, now this round, in my opinion, is not very good, or this caliber isn't very good, but it should be. In real life, I feel like this is a better ammunition than what is depicted here for this, but that's besides the point. Once again, if you're going to be running leg meta, the 45 rip is 127 flesh damage, which is absolutely devastating to your legs. One shot and it's blacked out. The 45 ACPs would be the best round to run if you are trying to punch through level 4 armor. It is a level 5 effectiveness. Most 45 caliber weapons don't shoot very fast, so anything above level 4 armor class, it's not going to be very effective, as it is a level 3 effectiveness against the level 5. So not very good. Okay, so now we have the 9x21mm caliber. I believe this is for the shrimp And what you're going to want to use is the SP13, by far the best round. You have a level 3 penetration on level 6, 4 on 5, and a level 5 on 4. Absolutely devastating. Anything else really, since this is for a pistol round, is not really worth running, but the SP13 is absolutely fantastic. Now we have the 5x7x28 millimeter FN. This is for your FN57 and your P90. This is an absolutely devastating round or caliber. I highly recommend rocking the SS190s or the SB193s. And if you're going to go leg meta, the R37Fs are absolutely devastating. The SS190s do 49 damage and 37 penetration power, which is a level 3 against a slick, which is class 6, or a level 4 against a level 5. It's a devastating round. It shoots very fast. It's very low recoil. It's a great caliber. Next, we have the 4x6x30 HK. This is your MP7 caliber, the gun that you would want to use for that, or the caliber you're using with the MP7. I always just use the APXX or SXs. As you can see here, they only do 35 damage, which means that they almost cannot one-tap someone in the face, but it shoots very fast, and typically speaking, you don't need to be able to do that. But it does have 53 penetration power, which puts it at a level 5 for class 6 and a level 6 for every other armor, which means it absolutely shreds, man. Oh, that's such a good ammo. But your other option would be to leg meta, and that would be your Action SXs. And those are fairly cheap, and they really don't do a whole lot of penetration, only 18, but they do 65 damage. It's not exactly a very effective leg meta because it doesn't do, say, like with the FN, you have 98 damage, but it does do 65, so it is decent. I recommend, if you're running the MP7, only rock the APSXs, as they are by far the best. But another decent option would be your FMJ-SX, as long as you don't run into level 6 armor, you'll pretty much tear through anything. Next, we have our 9x39 millimeter ammunition. This caliber is insane. These guns used to be the cheapest and most effective weapons in the game. Every single one of these rounds is worth using. Some are a little bit better than others, but the Val is absolutely... The Val and VSS are one of the best guns in the game. Not a lot of people use them, but when they do, you know, because you're dead. The SP5 does 68 damage with 38 penetration power, which means at a level 6, you are still penetrating at a level 3 rate, which is really good. The SP6s does 58 damage and 46 penetrating power, which does a level 4 penetration on a level 6, which is really good. And then the SPP, which would be the best overall, this would be the round that I would recommend you use. It does 64 damage at a rate of 50% or 50 penetration power, which will pretty much 2-tap a slick or any level 6 armor with 2 shots. It will penetrate and kill in 2 shots. Same thing with the BPs, but these do a little bit less damage, so a lot of the times you won't get a 2-tap. The 366 TKM, one of my favorite rounds in this game, is the 366 AP. This round is cheap. It is the best budget round in the game. It does 90 damage, 42 pen. So you're at a class 6, you're doing level 4 penetration power. It shreds. It is absolutely an insane ammunition. There is no fully automatic, but you do have a semi-automatic option in the VPO AK, which you can rock 30 round magazines. I think you might be able to do 50. No, I think it's just 30s. It's like 600 rubles on the flea. It's cheap. It's amazing. The accuracy isn't very good on it. It has a negative 28 accuracy. We do account for, and it also has plus 35 recoil percentage, which is quite a bit. But I'm telling you guys, it is a nasty round. Next, we have one of the most important ammunitions to talk about, because this is something that you're probably going to be running a lot. And we're pretty much just going to go over the main rounds that you're going to want to use, and I'll explain to you why. But this is for your 5x45x39 round, which is our AK. AK has 3 different calibers in this game, but this is the main AK, the smaller caliber size. So basically, we're just going to go in order of what I would recommend using. The 5x45x39 BP rounds is something that you will find very frequently already inside of a Found in Raid AK. They're pretty good. They have 48 damage, 32 pen. It's an overall decent round. It gets a lot of flack, and like a lot of people will run BT and they'll be okay dying to BT, but when they get killed by BP, they get pissed because they're like, that round's garbage, blah, blah, blah. Well, it's relatively the same round. 48 damage to 38 pen to 44 damage to 37 pen. It's really not that big of a difference. Both of them are good medium class, very, very cheap rounds. So if you're rocking the AK, the least I would run is a BP, but I would prefer to run the BT, as those are extremely cheap on the flea market. We're talking 50 rubles to 150 rubles this late into the wipe. Maybe even 200. I'm not sure. I never buy them anymore. So the number one recommended round that I would say would be the BS round. In my opinion, this is the best round for this caliber, and I'll go into explanation on why. It does 40 damage and 51 penetration power, making it a level 5 on a level 6 armor. So it is very, very effective against slicks. It's very effective against gazelles. Anything under that, it just absolutely shreds. And then the reason why I would pick that over the Ignoc is the Ignocs do 37 damage and 62 penetration power. It has substantial amount of more penetration. So at a level 6, it does a full damage. It doesn't even recognize that you're wearing armor, but it still only does 37 flesh damage. And that's the problem with it. And that is truly the problem with it, is it just flat out doesn't do enough damage. So that's why I like the BS rounds personally. Some people like the Iggies as their Ignoc, Eelneck. I don't know how to say it. I just call them Iggies. The 7N39, as I said before, if it has 7N in it, it's normally really good. Keep it, run it. There's nothing wrong with running 7N for this caliber. It's a very, very good round, but I personally just don't like it. Okay, next we have one of the metas of meta, and that is the 5x56x45 NATO round. This will go over and be used by your 5x56x45 AKs, your 8Rs, your M4s, your HKs, and the likes of that. So your DT 5x6, it'll also run this. We're gonna just talk about leg meta, and that would be your War Mage round. It does 85 damage. Not exactly the best leg meta round. 85 damage isn't quite enough. I would say the best to run for leg meta would be in the 90s, but it's still very valuable for a leg meta. So if you pick these up and you're in a pinch, make sure you know that you need to shoot for leg, as it does virtually 0 armor effectiveness on every armor. It has 0 pen, or it has 3 pen. The next we're going to talk about is the M855. This does 50 damage and 30 pen. Now, a lot of people dog on this ammunition right here. It's actually really good. It's a good mid-tier ammo. It's not bad. So it also does 30 pen. So at a level 4, you're at level 4 armor class, you're at a level 3 penetration, which isn't very good. So once again, you're going to want to shoot them in the face. If they have a face shield, that sucks. So if you guys remember back on episode 2, I ran into one of Rashala's guards, and he had the Alton, and I shot him in the head a bunch of times. It didn't go through because the Alton's level 5 face shield, and that is, or excuse me, yeah, a level 5 face shield, and it does 0% chance of killing him. We were screwed from the get-go on that one. Or excuse me, it does 2. I was on the wrong one. It does 2. So it was going to take a lot of bullets to be able to get into it. Next, we have the 5.6A1 round. These are tracers. which I prefer to snipe with, my personal preference. This is a very good round. A lot of people give this round a lot of flack. When I first started playing, this had different statistics than what it does now. So they actually changed it slightly, but this has 51 damage and 37 penetration, which at a level 5, you have a level 5 armor, you have a class 4, or at a class 5 armor, you have a level 4 penetration chance. And the only difference between the 5.5A1s is it does 45 damage to 43% penetration power. And at a level 5, it'll do level 5 damage to a class 5 armor. And then for meta for the 5.56 is the 995. Most of the time when you get killed by 995, it's because the guy was super kitted out, super geared, because a lot of people run M4s and HKs, which is a very good gun, very expensive. And the 995 is extremely expensive at, I believe, $17 a round. It does 40 damage and 53 penetrating power. So all the way up to class 6 armor, it does level 5 damage to that. So it is a very, very effective round. Now we have the newly added caliber of the 300 Blackout. Really, the only round that you're going to want to run with this is the Blackout APs. It does 55 damage and 44 penetration power. So at a class 6 armor, you're going to do level 4 damage. It's a good round. It's okay. The gun's okay. The SIG is what it is. It's okay. It's a good addition to the game. It's not super overpowered. It's a fun gun to use. It sounds cool. It's a cool weapon. Next, we have, in my opinion, the best caliber in the game. And I'll explain to you why. Basically, you guys, if you're going to run leg meta with this, I don't recommend running leg meta for this caliber. You're going to want to run the HPs. Right here, they do 87 damage, 15 pen. I don't recommend doing leg meta for this, but if you're in a pinch, you can do it. First, we're going to talk about the PS rounds. You can buy these from level 1 prepper. They are, in my opinion, the best round to run when you first start up in this game, as they do 57 damage and 32 penetration. So at the beginning of a wipe, pretty much everyone's running class 3, class 4 armor. No one really has level 5, level 2, or level 6. So this round is extremely devastating, plus it does high flesh damage. At a class 4 armor, it does level 4 damage, which is extremely good. Extremely good for how cheap it is and how early you can get it on. You can literally get it the second you turn on the game. The next best round, which in my opinion is the best overall round in the entire game for price point, for stats, for effectiveness, is the 7.62 BP round. This is one of the reasons why early on in the wipe you'll almost always see me running an SKS, because of these two rounds. The PS and the BP are extremely devastating, and they're cheap and they're easy to get. So the BP round does 58 damage and 47 penetration power. So the PS and the BP are relatively the same round when it comes to damage, but when it comes to penetration power, the BP shreds. At a class 6 armor, it does level 4 damage, which means I believe 3 or 4 shots and you're gonna die. So it's very, very effective. Next, we have, once again, my second favorite caliber weapon, and that is the 7.62 by 51 millimeter NATO round. So once again, you guys, when we're talking about leg meta, this is a very, very good leg meta round. If you're rocking an SA58, even if you're rocking a Hunter Vepr or anything that has fairly low recoil that you can actually stay on target halfway decent, the Ultra is devastating at 107 damage. Very low pen on this, but the damage is what we're really looking at here. The second round that I would recommend running would be the M80s. This is a outstanding round all the way around. Any way you look at it, this is a fantastic, fantastic round. It does 80 damage, 41 penetration power. So at a level or a class 6 armor, you're at level 4 effectiveness. And this, if I remember correctly, is $2 a pop. It might be $3 for M80s from Peacekeeper. And you can get these fairly early on. They are devastating, devastating rounds. It doesn't matter what time in the wipe is. M80s are effective if you know what you're doing when you're using them. My favorite round to snipe with, the M62. The M62 round is, I believe, $5 from Peacekeeper. It does 79 damage along with 44 penetration power. So it's only slightly better than the M80s in every or I guess it does a little bit less damage than the M80s, but it has a little bit better pen. But the biggest factor in this is this T right here. This T means it's a tracer. For a sniper round, it is absolutely fantastic because you can see the bullet trajectory of your ammo, so you can see why you're missing, and you can adjust accordingly, which makes it very, very effective. And you can spot shots, and it's just a very, very, very good round for sniping. So at a class 6 armor, you're going to do level 5 damage. Shreds. The best round for the 7.62 by 51 millimeter is the M61. It does 70 damage and 64 penetration power, meaning that on a class 6 armor, it is going to do level 6 damage. It acts like nothing's there. I would highly recommend running an M61. M993, I wouldn't touch this round. You're going to spend 3,000 to 4,000 rubles a piece on it, and it does actually less flesh damage than an M61. But let's go over here to our chart here for our levels, and we can see level 6 all the way across the board for both of these rounds. And an M61 does 70 flesh damage versus 67. It's actually a worse round. The M993 is worse than an M61. Any way that you put it, I'm sorry, it's just not as good. It's just not as good. It's not worth the money. There's no reason to run it. That's just my opinion. You can disagree with that, and that's fine. But the M993 just doesn't punch like an M61 does. So the next caliber that we're going to go over is the 7.62 by 54. This is your Mosin, your your SVD, your SV98 rounds, your sniper cartridge. Really, honestly, you guys, anything on this caliber is good. If you look at the ammo or the armor charts here, it's pretty devastating. Pretty much anything's going to be really good on this. So what we're going to look at is we're going to look at these 4 ammos here. We're going to look at these 4. So we have 7N1, we have 7BT1, we have SMB, and once again 7N37. The reason why I'm going to say the SMB is the best round for this caliber is because of its price point. The price point on SMB is, I haven't checked it here lately, but I know it's cheap, super cheap. Very cheap. I mean, we're talking less than the traders sell it for like maybe 400 rubles a pop. And if you're running the SVD, it'll 2-tap anyone in the thorax no matter what. If you want a tracer, say you're running a sniper and you're like me and you like having a tracer for your sniper round, the 7BT would be your best option because it has very, very similar stats to the SMB, and in fact does more flesh damage than the SMB. So it will 2-tap anyone in the thorax, but if you're trying to go for heads, that would be the round that I would pick. The 7N1 used to 1-tap a thorax, but they changed it. So if you were wearing a class 4 armor, you could 1-tap with 7N1. They did change it. It still happens, but it's less likely. And then the LPS is another really good round. Like I said, all of these are decent. They're not bad at all. But I highly recommend SMB, 7BT1, or the 7N37. 7N37 is really good, but quite frankly, it does 88 pen. It doesn't need to do 88 pen. 87 is just fine, and it does less flesh damage. So the 7N, in my opinion, isn't as good as your, excuse me, where did I, over here. It does 70 pen versus 62. But it doesn't need to do any more than 62. The 7N does more flesh, which makes it a more valuable round in my opinion. Plus at the price point, like I said, it is just so much better. This is the 338 Lapua Magnum Caliber. This gun is the Twisted Tea of Tarkov. The 338 Lapua, dude, it's insane. The only real round that whatever round you can get for this is fantastic. The Magnum TAC X isn't very good. This is the one round I wouldn't recommend using unless you're going to shoot them in maybe in the stomach if they're not wearing stomach armor or armor protection on their stomach. But the Magnum FMJ and the Magnum AP rounds are absolutely insane. The Magnum AP will 1-tap anyone in the thorax, but it'll cost you 60,000 rubles for one shot. So it's very expensive. They're very rare. They did do a very good job on this. I've died a few times to AP rounds, and it's literally like, I'm going about my business, and I'm dead. It's really fun. I really am glad that they put this in the game, as it's just a fun thing to run. It's a fun round just in general. You really don't need to worry about this early on. You're not going to be able to afford it, and you're not going to, if you do find them, just put them on the flea market. Don't save up for them. This is a gun for experienced players who have a lot of extra money, who just want to have fun and throw stuff around. So next we have the 12.7 55 millimeter, which is essentially the 50 cal variety. This is for the Ash 12. Basically, the only round that you want to run in the Ash 12 is the PS12B. This is a supersonic round. It's extremely heavy. At a level 6 armor, it does, or a class 6 armor, it does level 4 damage. So it's good, but it does do 102 flesh damage for 46 pen. It's a good round. It's a good round. Very, very high recoil, very, very high loudness. It's very loud. It's very devastating. It's just freaking, it's pretty sweet. The rest of this is grenades, so we're not actually going to go over that. Okay, guys, so that's going to be it for our ammo episode, so that we all just kind of get a good reference on, you know, what's good ammo, why is ammo important, why is the gun that we use not as important versus what kind of ammo we use, and why we should use good ammo versus buying good attachments. One round can kill anyone in this game. Unless you're wearing an Alton or a really, really good face shield, if you have the right ammunition, if you shoot someone in the head, they're going to die. 9 times out of 10. There is a high ricochet chance on some helmets, so you do have to factor that in, but that is all chance, and quite frankly, it really pisses you off when it happens, but it's part of the game, and you'll love it when it saves your life. But that's going to be it for this episode, you guys. Thank you guys again. Make sure you guys throw some comments down. Let me know what you guys want to see. In fact, on the live stream earlier today, someone said, hey, are you going to do an ammo Tarkov 101? And I'm like, well, I haven't yet. That would be a great idea, because it's the most important part of Tarkov. So that's why we did this one. So all your guys' comments, especially on these videos, are going to help with the algorithm. They're also going to help with giving me ideas on what to do on the next episode. Typically speaking, this format is going to be at the beginning, we're going to do a couple raids, and then we're going to have an information like this one, an information episode. And then the next episode we'll do some raids, and then the next one we'll do an information one. So if you guys want to check that out, please do. But yeah, that's going to be it for today. Thank you guys so much. Court is now adjourned.